When we picture early cities, we usually imagine chaotic, sprawling settlements growing organically. But by 2600 BCE, the city of Mohenjo-Daro was established as a meticulously planned alternative to these organic clusters. This was a massive metropolis engineered from the ground up to house 40,000 residents within a mathematically precise grid. The architects of Mohenjo-Daro had to plan for a hostile environment. The city sat directly on the floodplain of the Indus River, which provided life-sustaining water, but also brought catastrophic, life-threatening inundations every single year. Looking at these ruins, you can see their macro-engineering solution. Instead of building on vulnerable ground, inhabitants constructed massive artificial platforms out of mud brick. These foundations elevated the most critical parts of the city up to 12 meters, about 40 feet above the reach of the annual floodwaters. Over centuries, the river deposited thick layers of silt, slowly raising the ground level and the height of the floods. The citizens adapted by building new brick foundations directly atop the remains of older structures, driving the city vertically to stay dry. This top-down schematic reveals their strict planning. The city was divided into two sectors, separated by 200 meters of open ground, an elevated citadel in the west and an expansive lower town to the east. The lower town itself was carved into massive rectangular blocks perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions. Organizing 300 hectares of urban space with this level of mathematical precision requires immense coordination. It points to a highly centralized administrative authority, one that prioritized collective survival and large-scale civil engineering over organic, individual expansion. From a ground-level perspective along one of the main 10-meter-wide avenues, the purpose of that strict alignment becomes clear. By orienting the streets straight down the cardinal directions, the city could catch the prevailing winds. This created a natural air conditioning system that flushed cool air through the densely packed urban blocks. The streets were explicitly designed for heavy use. Builders rounded off the corners of structures at major intersections, so passing carts wouldn't damage the brickwork. You also won't find windows on the ground floors facing these thoroughfares. The streets were loud, dusty, and strictly functional. This large brick staircase shows the monumental scale of the architecture. But there is a stark contrast between Mohenjo-Daro and other Bronze Age centers. You won't find the towering ziggurats or massive terraced temples of ancient Mesopotamia here. In fact, excavations have revealed no royal palaces or grand tombs at all, only utilitarian communal structures. The crown jewel of the citadel is the Great Bath. Measuring roughly 12 by 7 meters, it is widely considered the earliest known public water tank in the ancient world, representing an extraordinary feat of early hydraulic engineering. To hold that much water without leaking, the builders layered sawed bricks set on their edges in strong gypsum mortar. Between these layers, they applied a thick membrane of natural bitumen, a sticky imported tar, to completely waterproof the pool. Dedicating the highest, safest, and most expensively engineered ground to public baths and assembly halls stands in stark contrast to the palaces of other civilizations. This governance model focused on communal welfare over the glorification of a ruling class. Walking down this narrow residential street in the lower town, you can see how heavily the culture valued privacy. Walls are high and blank, and homes were built with offset doorways to ensure nobody walking outside could see directly into the living space. Once inside, the layout opened up. The fundamental unit of design was a central courtyard surrounded by thick, windowless external walls. This created an inward-facing hub that trapped cooler air, providing the family with a comfortable temperature-controlled microclimate shielded from the intense Indus Valley sun. These homes were frequently multi-storied. Robust internal brick staircases led up to functional second floors and often to flat timber roofs insulated with mud and reeds to block out the heat. Supporting a dense multi-story city required incredibly strong materials. Instead of using standard sun-dried mud, which dissolves over time, the city embarked on a massive industrial effort to mass-produce kiln-fired baked bricks that could withstand high compression and heavy moisture. This 3D model visualizes why their masonry was so successful. Every single brick followed a strict dimensional standard of 7 by 14 by 28 centimeters. This 1:2 to 4 ratio allowed masons to efficiently interlock the bricks in overlapping patterns, rapidly creating stable walls. That rigorous architectural standardization meant houses could be built quickly and reliably. It allowed the city to pack tens of thousands of people into a tight footprint while maintaining a high standard of living, individual privacy, and structural safety. The most impressive engineering in Mohenjo-Daro was largely hidden from view. Clean water access was ubiquitous, drawn from an estimated 700 private and public wells. These were lined with specialized wedge-shaped bricks, designed specifically to keep the deep shafts from collapsing inward under the pressure of the surrounding soil. Here we see a terracotta pipe protruding through an exterior wall. Wastewater from private bathrooms flushed straight through these pipes. Outside, waste dropped into covered brick drains beneath the streets. Laid at a precise gradient, this gravity-fed sewer system carried waste to the river. This excavated brick cesspit illustrates how the municipal government kept the system flowing. Installed at major intersections, these soak pits acted as sediment traps. They caught solid debris, allowing workers to clear them through inspection manholes before they clogged the main sewer line. Looking at this theatite seal, we see their rational regulation extended beyond infrastructure. Commercial life was strictly controlled. Merchants used unified cubical stone weights and identical identifying markers on trade goods, locking the economy into the same grid of standardization as the streets. Mohenjo-Daro demonstrates that the pillars of modern urban life, standardized weights, public sanitation, and grid planning, were successfully engineered for the common good 4,500 years ago. These rational, invisible systems allowed a massive population to flourish in one of the world's first great experiments in urban living.